Well, I guess it's time we start delving into a new and brilliant story, which so far has really filled me with that joy you get when you truly find a godlike series that you know is literally going to mind melt people when the anime finally does release. And honestly, after starting this series, the absolute anticipation for what Mappa and their team is going to be bringing us later this year has completely and utterly multiplied in overall hype. The mangaka Tatsuki Fujimoto has honestly outdone himself with this story, even more than his last one, and I cannot wait to see what other titles he may release in the future. So without holding back anymore, it's time to grab those melons and get into the one and only world of Chainsaw Man. In this first video, we will cover the first entire arc of the story, that being the introduction arc. So as the story starts off, we find a young Denji talking to his chainsaw-like pet named Pochita. They continue talking, bringing up how tree cutting and selling his body parts brings his debt down to only 38,040,000 yen. Denji then turns to Pochita, saying, "Let's go and kill something." Straight after this, we see that he is hunting a tomato devil using Pochita like a chainsaw. Denji explains that hunting a devil will make him $300,000, which will help ease his debts for a bit. After destroying the devil, Denji talks to an elderly man who tells him that the devil's worth on the black market is 400,000 yen. However, Denji's happiness is soon dashed when the old man tells him that after subtracting his debt and other expenses from the total, he only gets 70,000 yen. Denji then takes his money from the old man and thinks to himself that after paying his water bill, he is only left with a measly 1,800, and since Denji and Pochita have got nothing to eat at home too, their meal for the day will be a single slice of succulent bread. As this was happening, the old man and his driver were watching him from a car. The driver questions him, asking why did he employ a brat as a devil hunter, to which the old man responds that he employed Denji because his pops died before he paid back his debt. However, the driver still persists, and the old man explains that a real devil hunter wouldn't just let a Yakuza take the corpse afterwards. He then adds on that the good thing about Denji is that he always does what he is told. Uncertain of this, the driver yells out and asks Denji to eat a cigarette for 100 yen, which he accepts because every penny matters to him. As Denji eats the cigarette, the driver speeds away, laughing and saying that they will reach out to him if there's another devil appearance, and he better not run away, because if he does, they will find and kill him. Upon them leaving, Denji spits out his ciggy and tells Pochita that because of the 100 yen, they will be able to eat for another 3 days. Later, at Denji's shack, we see the duo eating a slice of bread and saying that the normal things in life are just a dream for him. He can't ask a girl over because of his rundown shack, and he heard that dating is quite expensive anyway. Pochita whines in response, and Denji says that if dreams ever come true, then he wants to hug a girl before he dies. As we flow back into a flashback, we see the kid Denji standing in front of his father's grave, who had hung himself before making his monthly payment to the Yakuza. Behind Denji, a younger but still old man tells him to have the 700,000 yen ready by tomorrow, or he will cut up Denji and sell the pieces. As the car leaves, we see Pochita coming out from behind a tree, seemingly to attack Denji. The young boy though accepts his fate and tells the chainsaw devil to kill him because he's going to die either way. But Pochita doesn't attack him, instead falling to the ground, showing Denji his wounds. Upon seeing him dying, Denji remembers his late father and decides he doesn't want anyone to die. Sitting up, he tells Pochita to bite his arm because he heard if a devil drinks blood, its wounds are healed, and if Pochita doesn't want to die, he has to do so. Pochita bites his arm while Denji screams, telling him that the blood doesn't come for free and that this is a contract. So in return for saving him, Pochita must also help to save Denji, as he doesn't want to die either. The next day, the old man shows up for the payment, and as Denji shows up, slaying a devil, he asks the old man if he would hire him as a devil hunter. After the flashback is over, Denji lays on the ground, saying he can't fall asleep because he is too hungry, and all he can think about is his debt. He tells the little Pochita that he knows what he will dream of tonight, saying that he will flirt with a girl, play video games, and fall asleep in her arms. He tells Pochita that it's a pretty great dream, to which the pup yapped happily. Almost instantly though, Denji spewed up blood, while at the same time, the old man randomly started banging at the door, saying that there was a devil. Denji tells Pochita that his mother died of a heart disease, which made her cough up blood. As they leave, Denji thinks to himself, wanting to just dream even a little. Soon they arrive at the abandoned building where the devil is. Denji questions the old man as he doesn't see any kind of devil, but the old man acts like he didn't hear Denji and starts thanking him for being loyal like a dog. Hearing this, Denji starts feeling awkward. However, the old man switches on him, telling Denji that he hates the stench of dogs. Sadly, as Denji was looking forwards, he feels something pierce through his heart from behind. As he looks backwards, he sees a Yakuza man with a short sword had stabbed him and Pochita through the heart. The old man tells Denji that they want power to make money, so they have made a contract with a devil like he did. Revealing himself, the monstrous devil stands up with a bunch of abnormal looking humans around him while saying that it wants the death of all devil hunters. He goes on to explain that he, the zombie devil, has turned all of these stupid people into his puppets by making them his zombies. It orders the zombies to kill him, and soon enough, the zombies start chasing the injured duo. As he runs, Denji thinks that he just wanted to live a normal life, but no one ever let him have even that. Sadly, they catch and kill him brutally, slicing him into multiple pieces and leaving his remains in an alleyway dumpster. As the blood from Denji's nose reaches Pochita's mouth, the young devil thinks about how they were cutting trees and how Denji had told him that if he dies fighting demons, he would be worried about what would happen to Pochita, wondering if he would die of starvation or get killed by another devil hunter. Though, Denji had said he had heard some devils can take over dead humans' bodies, so if Pochita is one of them, he wants to give him his body and run away from the town so that the Yakuza won't come after him. Denji says it'd be nice if you can have a normal life and die a normal death, while telling him to fulfill his dreams for him. Back in reality, Denji's body contorts out of place as it slowly gets pulled back together by Pochita, who is connected to his chest, seemingly fusing with him. Inside of Denji's head, he has a dream in which he is lying with Pochita on his chest. Denji calls Pochita's name, to which Pochita responds with a cheerful woof. Then Denji asks him if he has taken over the control of his body, like he had asked him to which Pochita responds by saying he has always liked to listen to Denji's dreams. Denji is left shocked, but before he can say anything, Pochita tells him that this is a contract, and that he will give Denji his heart, but in exchange, Denji has to show him more of his dreams. He then snaps awake, calling for Pochita, but then he looks down and is shocked, seeing that all of his wounds are gone. He then looks at his chest and finds a cord protruding from his heart identical to Pochita's tail. Screaming, he yells out for his little friend's name. In front of him though, we see that all of the zombies have returned again, and the zombie devil gets shocked seeing Denji somehow had managed to survive against the previous attack. He instantly orders the zombies to kill and devour. Denji though, just blankly stares at the mob, thinking that all these guys already had enough and why did they want a better life? But then he wonders if he is similar, and if he should have been happy as long as he had Pochita, but he still wanted a better life as well. He thinks to himself that dreaming is not a bad thing. Everybody dreams, and it's not bad to, but if they come in the way of his dreams, then they will have to die. Denji rips the kill switch on his chest harder than a damn blade, and a horde of zombies rush at Denji and begin mauling him. The zombie devil pipes up, saying to himself and the horde that Denji has got to be dead after they ate him. But suddenly, we see a zombie being teared vertically apart by a chainsaw. Denji then reveals himself, tearing through the crowd of zombies fused with Pochita to become the one and only Chainsaw Man. The zombie devil tries to say to Denji that they are the same, but gets completely ignored, and Denji cuts through its eye, then continues to tear the devil apart easily with his blades. Turning around, he notices the zombie horde have turned into devils, and since he is a devil hunter, he's got to destroy them all. He literally starts slicing his way through them one by one, then laughing like an actual madman as he ruthlessly takes out the rest, saying that if he kills every single one of them, then he can say goodbye to his debt. A while later, a car pulls up outside of the abandoned building, and 3 people in suits come inside. The girl notes that it looks like someone has beaten us to the punch as they realize that the entire horde has been completely obliterated. As they look around and see only one remaining devil standing there, one of the suits says that they have got a living one. However, the mysterious girl walks up to Denji and says that he has a peculiar smell. It isn't devil or human. She then asks him if he did all of this, but instead, Denji was too worn out and he begins to throw up blood from his mouth. While collapsing, he asks the girl to hold him. But before he even realizes, the girl hugs Denji instead of holding him, and Denji's chainsaw form starts losing its solidity. Seeing him like this, the girl says that she knows he's a human. One of the suits asks the girl if he is possessed by a devil, to which she responds no, because you can see the possession on their faces. The girl then responds to tell Denji, who is in her hands, that she came here to kill the zombie devil and is a public safety devil hunter. She offers Denji two choices, that he can either be killed by her as a devil or be kept by her as a pet human. She tells him, as a pet he will get given food, in which Denji asks her food in a little surprised voice, and what kind of food would he get for breakfast. The girl answers while thinking that he can have bread with jam, salad, coffee, and even more. Hearing he would be getting bread with jam though, and other things for breakfast, Denji agrees, saying that it sounds like heaven before collapsing. As time moves forward, we see that Denji has woken up and is heading somewhere with the devil hunters. His stomach continues gurgling and he says that he hasn't eaten, to which the girl responds that they haven't had breakfast either, so they might as well go and grab some food. Upon hearing this, Denji awkwardly says that he's broke and can't afford the food, to which the girl says that he can pick whatever he wants and she will pay for it. Denji is left shocked, but before talking, the girl gives Denji her coat, saying he will draw people's attention walking around shirtless. After putting on the jacket, Denji peeks over at the girl and thinks to himself that people had always called him dirty and smelly. But with this girl, it's the first time he's ever been treated so nicely, and on top of that, by a pretty girl as well. With all this, Denji comes to a realization that he truly is in love with her. Soon they arrive at a shop where they order their food, but suddenly a random man runs in bleeding and yelling at the cashier to help him. The suit girl tells him that she is a devil hunter and asks him to explain what has happened. The man screams that a devil has kidnapped his daughter and taken her into the woods. At the same time, the chef comes up and then tells them that their udon is ready, to which the girl thinks for a while and asks Denji what his name is. Obviously, Denji tells her his name and she tells him that she doesn't want her udon to get soggy. Instead, he will have to go and kill the devil himself. Denji responds that he is also having food though, and while quietly mumbling this, he overhears one of the devil hunters say that an extremely experienced devil hunter is on the job. Cutting him off, she then asks Denji if he forgot that he is her pet, and the only response that she wants is a yes or a woof, as she doesn't need a dog who says no. Denji asks what she means in an unsure voice, to which she intensely says that she has heard from a judge that in the crime division they euthanize useless dogs. While a terrified Denji stands there, the girl tells him to get to work fast before her noodles become soggy, and asks him what his answer was, to which a distraught Denji responds by saying yes. As he runs off into the woods, thinking about how the girl was nice, to the point that he even liked her a little. However, he now realizes that she is just a damn psycho who is also treating him just like a dog. While thinking, he gets reminded of Pochita and how he had died. Then he suddenly hears the voice of a girl. He heads over to where the voice was coming from and finds the girl he's after with a little devil. Instantly after noticing him, the young girl confronts Denji, asking him to let the little devil go. She proceeds to tell Denji that her dad had beaten her up, but this nice devil came and saved her. She pleads for him not to kill it. Upon hearing this, Denji starts thinking, what should he do? And after a somewhat difficult decision, Denji tells the girl that they all three can run away if they want, and he also had a friendship with a devil, so he knows that not all devils are evil. The girl asks Denji if they can really run, to which he says that they totally can. However, as the girl claps Denji's hand and they all start laughing, the girl's face starts deforming slightly. All of a sudden, Denji finds himself getting lifted up and looks to find out that it's the devil's actual form, which had transformed into a terrifying worm-like devil. Shocked, Denji wonders what the hell had just happened, and the devil tells him that he will show him something cool before he dies, and that instead of a worm, he's actually the muscle demon. He proceeds to manipulate Denji's arm. He says that it can control muscles and taunts him even more with the girl's mouth, saying how he will mess with the little girl. He begins messing with the girl's face while making her cackle throughout his entire attack. However, Denji lets out a little giggle and then rips his kill switch with his mouth, almost instantly decimating the muscle demon with his chainsaws. Denji yells at the devil that now he won't have a problem killing a lowlife like him, and while the devil screams in agony, Denji finishes him off once and for all by cutting the muscle devil into multiple pieces. From a distance, we see the girl eating her udon and saying out loud that Denji sure is a useful dog. Coming out of the woods tired while carrying the girl on his back, Denji responds with a woof before falling and collapsing. The girl catches him once again though and asks him if he's okay. Denji thinks to himself that she smells good and apologizes to her for falling, as he accidentally ended up cutting himself with the chainsaws, and because of that he continued to lose blood until he fell. She asks Denji how did his body even end up like this, to which he responds that his pet devil, Pochita, had become his heart. As he continues explaining his disbelief in being alive, the girl tells him that historically speaking, his condition is extremely rare. It's so rare that it hasn't even been given a name, nor confirmed, but she still says that she believes him because she has an especially good nose, which is able to tell that his best friend is still alive inside of him, and that his body also has two scents, one of a human and one of a devil. As he hears this, Denji then blushes and his stomach starts to gurgle again, reminding him that he wants to eat that udon. The girl then asks him if he can feed himself, to which Denji responds by saying that he can. However, he stops midway and realizes that he cannot. As the girl feeds an overjoyed Denji, he responds to her in awe by literally barking like a puppy. She then looks at Denji somewhat in disbelief that he can actually enjoy a soggy udon as if he's really like a dog. Denji blushes a little and asks the girl what her name is, to which she responds that her name is Makima. Visibly taken back at the beauty of her name, Denji asks what kind of guy she's into. Makima thinks for a moment and answers, telling him that it's people just like him. Denji thinks to himself for a moment, somewhat confused, and then says, "Isn't that me?" While Denji thinks back on what Makima had just said, he turns to her and goes to say that he likes her as well, but then realizes she isn't there. However, Makima calls him over and it is shown to him that she has taken him to the Devil Hunters Tokyo headquarters. It is explained through her that there are over 1,000 Devil Hunters in Tokyo alone and that her bureau offers the best stuff, but Denji only thinks of what she said earlier and starts imagining his future with her. Makima gives Denji a uniform, telling him that they normally work in one, and after he changes, she would introduce him to his colleague. After getting changed, Makima introduces him to Aki Hayakawa, saying that starting today, they are both partners. Denji starts to complain, hinting that he wants to work with Makima, but before he can say any more, Aki drags him off. While this happens though, Makima walks up and tells him that if he does well, then they will be able to work together. While patrolling the streets, Aki tells Denji to follow him for a moment. Once making it to the end of an alleyway, Aki beats him up, punching him in the face and kneeing him in the stomach. Afterwards, while lighting a smoke, he tells him to quit the Devil Hunters Bureau. He explains that people who became Devil Hunters for weak reasons are the first to die, saying that only the Devil Hunters still alive that he's worked with are the ones with conviction. He instantly guesses correctly that Denji only became a Devil Hunter as he's interested in Makima. As he finishes his smoke, Aki throws it onto Denji's chest and then proceeds to spit on it to put it out. He then turns and says that he will tell Makima that Denji got scared and fearfully run away. However, Denji instead hits him between their legs, taking him by surprise. As he hits Aki, he explains that today was the first day he felt like a human, and that it was the first time someone had treated him to a meal in his entire life. He tells him that if being a devil hunter for those reasons is shallow, then he'll die to keep things the way they are right now. Aki stands up and fights back, tackling Denji and continuing to punch him, but as he threw another punch, he was once again hit between the legs. Enraged, Denji screams at him, asking if it's because he also likes her. Though, Aki was unable to reply and collapses onto the floor, stating that he really did only aim for the balls. Returning to the headquarters, Denji says that Aki got attacked by a testicle devil, but Aki reveals that that was a lie. Makima asks them if they'll get along, with both of them giving differing answers, but Makima decides to put them in Aki's experimental squad either way. Aki tries to say that he doesn't need another weirdo as his team is already filled with them, but Makima tells him that his squad was meant to be experimental, which leaves Aki confused, wondering what Denji is. Maki then explains that Denji can turn into a devil, and stunned, Aki says that cases like them are just myths. But she says that he is a special type, and if he should ever run or quit, then he will be put down as a devil. Not understanding the situation completely still, Denji asks what she means, and Makima tells him that it means that they will all be working together until death do them part. After leaving with Aki, Denji asks if Makima is a good or a bad person, and hearing this, Aki tells him to be grateful that at least he is still alive, but as he still insists on this question, Aki tells him that she definitely is a good person as he owes her his life. As he says this, Denji remembers how she hugged him, then cheekily remarks on the melons that she carries around with her, which Aki instantly perks up at. Later on, Denji and Aki start to live together, and the dream of the legendary bread slice was completed, but Aki gets annoyed after seeing the mess that Denji leaves around the house and the amount of times that he had to use the bathroom, pushing him almost to the breaking point. Before erupting though, Aki receives a call, as there is an appearance of a fiend in the East Nomida residence. After arriving at the location, they head towards the room with a fiend. While heading there, Denji asks what a fiend is, and Aki explains that a fiend is a devil that has taken over a deceased body of a person, and are easily identified by their heads. As they see it, he explains more that fiends take on the hosting devil's personality. Aki commands Denji to kill the fiend and show his devil power to prove himself. However, Denji decapitates and kills the devil with a simple garden axe before Aki finished his sentence. He goes on to say to a confused Aki that if he used his power it would be a little overboard, and he wanted to give a painless death to the fiend. Aki gets angry and explains that fiends may be half devils, but they are still devils, and he shouldn't sympathize with them as they don't have feelings like humans. Intensely, Aki tells him that a devil killed his entire family right before his eyes, and those cops downstairs are his mates, and they risk their lives every single day for their wives and children. Everyone around them is serious, but Denji is not. Aki says that he wants to kill devils in the most suffering way possible, and questions Denji's morals when it comes to befriending devils, to which Denji says that if there are any devils that could be his friends, then he'll take them, as he never had any before. However, not impressed at his answer, Aki tells him that he will remember that before leaving the room. As Denji looked down, he saw some of those melon magazines, and he then reveals that in reality he didn't want to use his chainsaws as they will spray blood all over these collectible mangai. He then thinks to himself that he can now shower, eat tasty food, and see a lovely lady almost every day as well. He has everything he ever wanted already, but feels like something is missing. He notes that Aki's goal is revenge or something, then curiously wonders if Makima has a dream of hers as well, and while thinking of her, he comments that he wants to touch some of her melons. Denji then realizes what he thought to be impossible is now possible with his current life. While he thinks back on what Aki said, Denji believes that now he has found a serious dream, and that is to touch some of those beautiful melons. Now over at the headquarters, Aki tells the delirious Denji to watch his mouth before Makima informs him that she is pairing him up with a new partner. While dwelling over this thought, Makima explains to him that they pair their agents up with new partners for small-scale missions and patrols. Once her friend does arrive though, Makima goes to leave and warns him that she is a fiend. Power then makes her entrance, telling all of the humans to cower before her as she is called Power. Denji starts to wonder if fiends can be devil hunters, but as he sees her chest, he quickly accepts it and greets her as he gets excited to work with her. Well, that officially brings us to the very end of my first video into Chainsaw Man and the introduction arc of, I guess, obviously Chainsaw Man in general. This series is super dope, and I'm super happy that I picked it up before the anime did start releasing, and I honestly recommend that you guys do go ahead and just start reading the series for yourself, because the mangaka for it deserves so much praise as well, as in 2 of his series, Fire Punch and then this as well, have both been absolute stunners. So I can't wait, as I said at the start of the video, to see what this guy puts out in the future, and I recommend that anyone go out there and pick up his stuff. Honestly, if you guys have been wondering, I've seen a lot of comments asking where like kind of my Tokyo Revengers videos I guess have been over the last month or 2 on my channel, and the next video that I am going to be putting out is going to be my entire Tokyo Revengers explained video for the latest 3 deities arc of Tokyo Revengers. Obviously, main reason I haven't been making like reviews and as much like of Tokyo Revengers stuff in general anymore is just for the fact that I've kind of like been busy with making these videos. They take about 2 weeks sometimes to do one video alone because they're an hour or 2 hours at a time, and reviewing things week by week can become, you know, like quite repetitive at some points. I know it sounds, as I said, a little bit silly, but that's like one of the main reasons why, and I like to, you know, enjoy the series for the main reasons that I got into it in the first place. But anyway, I'm still enjoying it at how it is now, and I can't wait to, you know, kind of like talk about it in my next video, which I'm going to put out. One after that is going to be the Jujutsu Kaisen hidden inventory arc explained, and then I'll probably do part 2 for this, depending on how, you know, well this video does. So if you guys have enjoyed this video and want to see, you know, obviously part 2 for this, or the Bat Devil arc, I think is the next arc, I'm pretty sure it is, then make sure you leave a like and obviously subscribe and leave a comment down below and all that kind of jargon that I've mentioned like 4 or 5 times already. But anyway, for now it's been your professional degenerate, and I'll see you all. Oh my god. But anyway, for now it's been your professional degenerate, Diavolo, and I will see you all in a bit. Bye.